So this is my founder's story. The reason why I'm so obsessed right now, and I have been for the last 13 years, about how we create an alternative to the funding and distribution system that we've got in the UK to do with the arts. Now, notice I said alternative, I didn't say a replacement, because I know people have mortgages to pay that are successful at it, and people that pay school fees. It works for some, it works for a minority, but for the majority it doesn't work for, and we know that. But people complain about it but do nothing about it. So I wanted to back that up of why I've started Future Creatives and what it is that drove me to this point. So back in 2012, we were NPO, Company Malachi, we're a national portfolio organisation. And at that point, from 2008, the economic meltdown took its way to filter through to the arts. Normally, it's usually the arts that goes first, but because we'd got funding in tranches, it took some time. So 2011, we got notified in a year, we're getting the chop, along with some other 160 other companies, something like that, and artists. So at that point, when we got cut, it was the best day of my life in the sense of thinking of something else, but also quite sad in the fact that drilled home to me that so few make the decision for so many, and that's across the funding. There's not enough to go around, there's never enough to go around, and there's even less to go around now. So that was my that was the inception of this idea of how do I maintain my audience, how do I maintain without the gatekeepers and without being given permission to be able to do what I want to do. So that started me on the journey. So what I was doing stuff with real estate at that time, and a lot of the time they were doing webinars. We know what they are now, it's quite common, but webinars 13 years ago in 2012, 2011 wasn't such a thing. So they were training us online, training all the training we did. So not all of it, but some of it. So I'm like, why can't I do that? Use that facility, but use it to teach dance and fitness and creativity. There was no reason why. There was no barrier. There was no barrier to entry. I didn't need permission from anybody to say, yes, you can do that. So I just started doing it. I tried it. I had some partners with Falmouth University. I was teaching a company, Sarasota Dance Company, and started to create partnerships with people that were actually up for the idea. One of the biggest feedbacks was, well, it's not like the real thing, is it? God, neither is going to a concert and listening to an MP3 the same thing, but you do both because it's an interpretation of the art form. And what this was allowing me to do was have permissionless distribution. That's the secret of what we do as artists. One, have a digital product that people can interface with and people can consume, people can look at whilst we sleep. So yes, we can send our videos out there and we can say, yeah, look at my stage show, but I filmed it on a camera at the back of the auditorium. That's another thing, that's another podcast. I want to do this, but I need to ask your permission. So the internet gives us permissionless connection. 5.3 billion people have access to the internet. They're just waiting for you to show up. So let me go back. So I knew that I needed to do this distribution thing. So I started teaching online. People was like, a bit resistant, but it wasn't for them. This was for me. I did try and create a thing called Agile Studios where I invited other people to understand that. But now we have things like Steezy. These were the days of Skype. So there was no Zoom. There was no... What happened to Skype in 2020 anyway? So I was struggling with Skype. The ideas were there, as many of us as artists, the ideas were there, but the technology and the infrastructure didn't exist. I did some things with a company called Watch It To. That was the acronym for Watch It Together. So they were based in New York. So I pursued that and continued with doing that. Great. That's plodding along and the technology is getting better. Next thing was that I needed space. I needed space that was, again, permissionless. where I could use the space, where the things that I wanted to use it for, and also give other people the opportunity just to do it, just to experiment, just to do that, do whatever they wanted. If they've got an audience, or if they wanted to build an audience, let them come do it. So we got our first space in 2016, rent free. We didn't have to pay business rates. We got a reduction on business rates because we were not for profit. So those reductions we handed on to artists that wanted to use our space. It was called Folded Space, our first space, and we handed it on to them in the case of them having reduced charges or none at all. We had to keep the lights on. We had to, pay some bills, so we had to have some charge, but it wasn't some astronomical amount. Then we didn't give up that space. Somebody came and somebody else wanted to use it as a barber's, so we were using it as thing is called meanwhile occupancy. The agent was like, "Oh, sorry, you've got to move out, but we've got another bigger space around the corner with 2 floors. Do you want it?" Like, not, do you want? I said, "Okay, yeah, we'll go and have a look." So we went and have a look, and it was a great space. That was called third space because we were looking at this concept of the space between, well, you're not at home, you're not at work. This third space, that's what they're called. So we had that, and then the big C came along. And we'd got a coffee shop in there, and the way we were doing it, not because it's a coffee shop, we don't need another coffee shop on the high street, let's do it with a difference. So we were working with an artist who was a spoken word artist, MC, rapper, and he wanted to try a coffee shop, Sunny Green. So we put him in downstairs, it was our space, third space. We put him in like a concession. You run the coffee shop. Had made a great go of it. It was doing spoken word workshops. So on a Saturday we'd have spoken word workshops. People would write, then they'd perform. It was something different for the community in Southend, which is where both of our spaces were based. What we found is that as the big C started to come, we couldn't perform, we couldn't have people in. So as things started to relax, we worked with it. So we had shop window performances, shop window DJs, where people were still going by, but we were still entertaining. We had promenade performances. You remember the time when there was only 6 people allowed together or 6 meters apart? We had these promenade performances where we worked with East 15 College, Maddie Boise. She collaborated with us and programmed a whole series of little micro performances around the space which people would go around. Amazing. It was fantastic. So we worked with it. We had art exhibitions, we had open mic nights, all these things. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because this came from real estate as well, this solution, because I knew that I could approach a landlord with a solution rather than saying, "Can I have your space for free?" The solution that I have is the knowledge that I had from real estate. So why I'm saying that is because the solutions that we need for the industry, for the creative industries, are probably not in those industries, because if they were, we wouldn't have the mess that it is right now and the need and the desire for more of everything, because the solutions are there, the money's there, the networks are there, but we're so looking at we can't see the wood for the trees because we're just focusing on the tree, and we don't see all the abundance that's around us. So that was the second element. Third element that I know I needed was money. The old favourite, the old fruitcake, the thing that people have a brilliant creative idea. Their second thought is money. Then it's like, I ain't got any. Rather than saying, you could say, I need money in 2 ways. It's like, I need money. I need it. And then your brain cuts off. Or, I need money. There's 2 ways that I've said it. So I need money. I go and find it. I go and look for it. So this coincided with, we did some work with the British Council in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. I met Abdul. Abdul was running Uhuru Community Centre, training centre. Abdul was a G. He's a whale in the crypto space. So I understood a little bit about crypto, and I'll talk about NFTs in a second, because I know people think, NFTs. they're dead, or they think they understand what they are. So Abdul taught me about reward pools. He taught me about all the things that were going on in the crypto world that I knew nothing about. And people always say, oh yeah, crypto is a rip-off, it's a con. There'll be bad actors in every industry that you work in. There's bad actors in construction, there's bad actors in the beauty industry, there's bad actors everywhere. Where people make money, or there's money to be made, you will always have bad actors. So get it out of your head that it's a con. There's people that will con you in the industry. There's people that will con you in every industry. Anyway, so Abdul taught me about these smart contracts, and decentralized finance, and that was it. That was the holy trinity. So we've got distribution, we've got space, being in the real space, because as creatives we need this to be in the real space. Everything can't be digital. But what I would say is using the digital as breadcrumbs. If your thing is live, and the perception of your work for you as a creative is that it's best experienced live. So everything that you do digitally is about leaving breadcrumbs for people to come and experience you live. Musicians do that simply with an MP3 or music video. But a lot of the time, as I'll use the industry, that dancers and actors and people that have, or gallery, an artist, where people want people to be in the physical space, but have you got a way to lead people to you? That's what's important. That doesn't mean by sticking your video, if you're a dance artist, choreograph this, look, there's a camera at the back of the auditorium, there's one, make something for the medium that people are going to interact with. So if it's a profile video, make it on Instagram, make it for the space where you believe people are going to interact with it, which brings them to the space where you want it to go. Anyway, move that aside. So I had the three things. I had this idea of decentralized finance, space, being able to get space, but also how to distribute things. So those digital things combined with the physical space, that's it. That's why now we're pushing future creatives, because we want to help people understand that there is an alternative. I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they were saying, I want to get in touch with the Tate and do the late Tates. And I'm like, why don't you just do it? Just do your own thing. Just bring your audience, because all you're going to do is run up against this thing of like, oh, let's program it. Maybe we'll program it a year in advance. I'm saying not to not do it. Still do it, but don't think that that's the only option that you have. There's 1,000,001 spaces. Exaggeration. There's a lot of spaces up and down your high street, up and down these empty creative spaces that you can bring your magic to as an artist. Then when we couple that with distribution, streaming, then we couple that with decentralized finance, NFTs, smart contracts. So now I'm going to tell you a couple of things actually about NFTs, and I'm only telling you this because DeFi, there's a whole world out there just waiting for you as artists to not listen to the hype of people that actually don't know what they're talking about. So when you say, oh, a JPEG, I can just take the JPEG or a screen grab of something on that's a NFT on the screen, and then what's the point in having it? Let me tell you something. So an NFT is just really the gateway to the thing that's called a smart contract. It's like the receipt that you get with a product. So you'll get the receipt, NFT, smart contract. That will lead you to the pair of sneakers that you've got. So those sneakers allow you to play basketball, or they allow you to do certain things. They give you the privileges of doing it. So just because I have the receipt doesn't allow me to play basketball or to wear the sneakers. So think of the NFT like that. Non-fungible token. What you see, not the NFT, just think of the JPEG like that. I always use the example. The Beatles have an album called the White Album. The owner of it, the actual physical album is worth about $795,000, but I can listen to it for free on Spotify. It's not about just getting the digital thing, it's about the ownership. And what a smart contract does that supports the NFT is, if I buy this NFT, this picture, With the smart contract, the artist might have written into the contract, every year I send you a new photo, art, picture, whatever. You're also allowed to come to a retreat in Bali where I teach painting. You're also allowed to blah blah, etc., etc. So the artist makes the deal with what it is that you're buying, and that can be actually, those rewards can be created with conversation with their audience. But if they don't have an audience, if all as they're doing is putting something out, so like, come to my exhibition, buy a ticket for my show, do this, do that, they just become a customer. There's no such thing as an audience. They're a customer because all it is transactional. You're just getting people to come to the things when you want them to come to it. What happens to the other 324 days of the year when you're not touring, you've not got a gig, you're not out there? This is why the digital is really important. You need to create something where you're interacting with your audience and you're giving them the value. You're talking to them, understanding what it is that they want, not just doing the artist thing and making it and putting it out there and hoping for the best. You can still do that, but then if it's always like that, it's going to be really difficult to grow, to amplify what it is that you do. So that's the reason, that's my founder's story. That's the reason why we're doing this. And as we go forward, you'll see how we're revealing the opportunities that are there waiting for you, because everybody's looking in the wrong direction, not in the wrong direction, in a direction that you've been told to look for the last 60 years. We inherited this system that was created about 60 years ago from the funding, etc., etc. I'm not going to go into it right now, but there's gold, as they say, there's gold in those hills, but you're not looking at the hills, you're looking down at your feet. So this is my founder story. Get on board. If you want to find out more about Future Creatives, what we're talking about, the tokenization, decentralized finance, crowd commissioning, quadratic funding, these might all sound absolutely a different language to you, and they probably are. But once you find out the detail of what they do, that's freedom. Like I say, we don't need more funding for the arts. We just need freedom.